I got to put a little oil in it.
Go get the Robitussin so we can get this car fixed.
Here are your hosts, the effective communication coach, Denise Thomas, and two-time Emmy Award winner, Telly Hughes.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's Thursday, Friday Eve, October 17th, 2024. Good morning, Telly. Happy Friday Eve.
Happy Friday, Junior, and happy Truth Day. 10/17/1017.
There it is.
Yes.
Good morning, Ricky.
Good morning, DT. What it do?
Well, we are officially celebrating today, as Telly mentioned, being that it is 10/17, it's 1017 day, and we're going to get y'all's day started off on a great note. At least we plan to. And we're going to be celebrating the truth all week. We've been celebrating all week, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And we could not be who we are, and what we do without you. So good morning, Truth Nation. We are 19 days away from November 5th.
Wow.
19 days, Telly.
Man, I bet people that are in jail right now wish time would be flying like this, while they there. Because time is flying right now.
Damn. It's flying. Can you imagine that? We only have 19 days until November 5th, and this country will elect. This is so historical. Either way, you're either going to have a former president who ran for re-election and did not win and did not officially concede or acknowledge that he lost, to then run again on the next presidential election ballot. And then on the other side, you have a black woman. Whereas if Madam Vice President is elected, she'll not only be the first woman to be elected to serve as the president of the United States, but she's black.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time. So either way, it's going to be an historical election. Now, what Telly and I want to do is, regardless of whoever you want to vote for, however you want to vote, whoever you want to vote for, I received some really, really insightful information from a credible resource yesterday regarding the Wisconsin absentee report. Did you know that there is a daily Telly absentee report?
No.
Specific. I didn't either.
Yeah, when you sent out this that text message yesterday, the responses were to that text message, like, wow, this is very insightful.
And so we're going to get into that when, we come back after our first break. But you definitely want to stay locked in, because this is huge. When we share this information with you, it really demonstrates where registered voters in this country, especially in the state of Wisconsin, are right now. They are taking full advantage of the absentee voting process, the early voting registration, which, by the way, as Telly and I had shared yesterday, early voting day in the state of Wisconsin is Tuesday, October 22nd. So if you would rather vote early versus absentee or on November the 5th, please make sure that you are registered to place your early vote, which is myvote.wi.gov, where you can register, where you can see who's on the ballot, where you can do your research, where you can find out where you need to go register. All of that information is on myvote.wi.gov. It's getting real.
Yeah, this is truly crunch time, and that's one of the reasons why Madam Vice President Harris is back in Milwaukee. I believe that I read something about the Pfister has closed the street down or closed it down in anticipation. So, yeah, U.S. Secret Service locks down Pfister ahead of VP Kamala Harris's Milwaukee visit. So, it has gotten real, and it is such a tight race, and that's what I really wanted to get to the bottom of that in both the state and, the presidential races when we were speaking with Senator Tammy Baldwin yesterday, that when you just stack up the candidates, you would, in any other race, you would be like, it doesn't even compare. But yet we are in one of the closest presidential races this late in the game that we've seen in a long time. And so that's the part that, I don't know, you should feel a little nervous. It's almost like a football team that, like, okay, they should kill this team. And then you're in the fourth quarter and it's 24-24. You're like, wait a minute, man. Like, what's going on here? Like, we're so much better than this team, and we should be dominating this team. Why aren't we dominating? And that's the why that has me a little like, man. And like you said, 19 days you said?
19 days until November the 5th. However, and this is something important, if you are considering early voting, you have 15 days left to request an early voting registration. And you really should request it in the next couple of days if you want to vote by mail and have it returned in time to be counted. So there are 15 days left to request voting by mail. You can vote at the polls on November the 5th. But if you or you know of a loved one who wants to vote by mail, they have 15 days left to request. However, again, it's been strongly encouraged and recommended to send your request by this Friday, in order for it to be returned in time and to be counted. And based on this Wisconsin absentee ballot report that we're going to dive into when we come back, the signs continue to point to a high turnout environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many things right now, Telly, that I'm processing as a registered voter and as a black person and as a woman. It's a lot that I'm processing, because I'm looking at the agenda that Madam Vice President released specific to black men. I'm processing the remarks that former President Barack Obama made specific to black male voters. I'm looking at how Madam Vice President has and continues to be treated by conservative, red journalists, as she was on Fox News yesterday. We're going to talk about that. I mean, it's so many things that I am processing as a registered voter.
Yeah.
Who will vote on November the 5th, because I'm going to work the polls on November the 5th. Because I said, well, let me work these polls, because at least I know if I work the polls, I'll know I'll vote.
Like, look, I'm already here.
I'm already here. Might as well, go ahead and. But, in all seriousness, Telly, yesterday we were talking about that 70% of election workers were saying that they anticipate more violence this election at the polls than the previous presidential election in 2020. And we had a number of Truth Nation listeners and viewers that were like, hey, don't be scaring people. And I was like, I don't know where you were on January the 6th, but I saw some things that have made me be like, it's not about me being scared to go vote. All I'm asking is that if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then please be prepared for the duck. Give us, I don't care if it's National Guard, I don't care if it's, law enforcement, private security, whatever. Please let me know that we will be ready for people who want to shack the fool on November the 5th.
How about get the same sort of security that we saw at the RNC during those 3-4 days? We're only asking that for 1 day, right? Oh, okay. I'm sorry if I'm making too much sense here. My bad.
I just put my mic down. Please continue.
I'm curious, and we were talking about it before the show, and maybe we'll get a chance to, bring Truth Nation into it. Like, are companies allowing you to take time off to go vote? And why isn't that an off day? Why isn't that a federal off day? I mean, because there's other entities that have taken measures to make sure that they vote, like the NBA. The NBA didn't schedule any games on November 5th because they wanted everyone to take that day to exercise their right, including the fans, the hundreds and thousands of fans that would have been attending these games at various arenas throughout the country. So,
Telly, quit scaring the black folks.
My bad.
You're putting too much fear in their hearts.
Yeah.
You don't need to be talking like that. Look, at the end of the day, I'm a realist. I'm going to vote. And the majority of black people that are registered to vote are going to vote. But we also ain't blind. And we also like breathing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. We come back.
Wait a minute, DT. Before we go to break, you just said that you're talking about January 6th, and I just looked it up because just yesterday, Trump called it a day of love. So
don't be scared, black people. You have nothing to be scared of. I know one thing. I woke up this morning and the sky was blue. I didn't say it was red. I saw it was blue, and I'm saying that it's blue. 833-212-1017 is our Truth Talking text line. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back again, we're going to dissect this Wisconsin absentee report that is apparently distributed and monitored on a day-to-day basis as we are 19 days away from the election, as well as get into this interview. Madam Vice President Kamala Harris sat down for the first time on Fox News. We're going to get into that when we come back. We want to hear from you. 833-212-1017. You're listening to the best morning show on planet Earth because you deserve the best, and we'll be back.
Don't touch that dial. Truth Be Told with DT and Telly will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's your boy Benjamin.
And your girl Noni Juice.
And we'll be coming at you live from Steinhaufel's in Greenfield this Friday. Jamming on the couch at Steinhaufel's live from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m.
So come on down and jam on the couch with us. And get something juicy from Steinhaufel's to upgrade all your home furniture needs. We've got juicy topics, and Steinhaufel's has some great deals waiting for you.
Steinhaufel's Greenfield. Don't miss it.
The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners, we need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know, what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year in 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee Health Services Incorporated is celebrating 35 years of serving all income and medically underserved populations of Milwaukee's metropolitan area. MHSI is a one-stop shop that provides medical, radiology, dental, pediatric, behavioral health, pharmacies with affordable medications, and more. Also, MHSI's new family medicine residency program, located at the Isaac Cobbs Heritage Health Center, has brought 28 family doctors to our area, which is significantly impacted by healthcare workforce shortages. Become a new patient today. To schedule an appointment, call 414-372-8080. Your health is their business.
Dear Dad, I don't say this enough, but you're my hero. I know you're not feeling this election, but please do me a favor. Vote. Our Black history, my access to healthcare, and our voting rights are under attack. Extreme politicians want to take away our voice and our vote. Our future, my future, is on the ballot right now. You have the power to make sure my voice is heard. Please, Dad, use your power. Vote like my life depends on it. Paid for by NAACP.
You are listening to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Good morning, Truth Nation. Happy Friday Eve. It is Friday Eve. We're almost there, y'all. We have a very exciting show for you today, and thank you so much for starting your morning off today. Now, we're talking about, obviously, we're 19 days away from the election day, which includes registered voters will be voting for the 47th president of the United States. Now, there are different ways that you can vote, and we're going to get into that right now. The first thing I want to remind us, including myself, is that you do not need a reason to be an absentee voter. If you would like to vote early, or if you would like to vote via absentee ballot, you don't need a reason. Every registered Wisconsin voter has the ability to request an absentee ballot. You simply go to myvote.wi.gov to request an absentee ballot. Now, you don't want to wait until the deadline to request your absentee ballot, because it's going to take some time for election officials to process the request and mail out the ballots. The good news is that once you do submit your request, if you are considering to vote absentee, that same website is where you can track your request until your ballot arrives. And then you fill out the absentee ballot form. Now, if you need assistance, you can find your municipal clerk on the same website. You can also call, and that number is 866-868-3947 for assistance with regards to absentee ballot. And remember, early voting day is October 22nd. That is Tuesday. It's a lot going on, Telly. That's all I'm saying. It's a lot.
No, you started it off by saying it's a lot to process. It is because you continue to have these candidates coming through Wisconsin, and at this point, like, what are you saying outside of rallying to make sure that your supporters are going to get out and vote, which at this point, if you're supporting either candidate, you're going to vote. Mm-hmm. So what is the goal, like, for them to just continue to come to Madison, Milwaukee, and other parts of the state to, I mean, is that just to say, hey, I'm here and you should vote because I'm here? Or what are you doing once you get here? Mm-hmm. And that's for both candidates. That's not just, for Madam Vice President Harris or and for former President Donald Trump. There was a town hall meeting that he allowed them to play 39 minutes. He allowed them to play music for 39 minutes. He's like, we're not going to answer questions. He's like, let's just play music. And they literally did it for 39 minutes at what was supposed to be a rally, a campaign rally. So, it's a lot. It's a lot to process.
Well, the good news, there is some good news, because I know a lot of us, as we are establishing how we are going to vote, we know we're going to vote. Do we want to vote early? Do we want to vote absentee ballot? Do we want to vote during the general election day on Tuesday, November the 5th?
Mm-hmm.
Now, going back to the absentee ballot, as of yesterday, this is the Wisconsin absentee ballot report. As of yesterday, there have been 573,750 requests.
Wow.
To vote absentee. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, yesterday when we were talking about this, people were like, don't be pumping Kool-Aid in people's hearts. Don't pump the fear tactic. Numbers don't lie.
Wow.
It's not that we as a community aren't going to vote, but we're also not stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not.
And we also like breathing.
Danger. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Our ancestors, yes, they died so we don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me, Telly?
Yeah. So I like you said, you have to do what is best for you. I mean, that's how you're voting. You're voting for the candidate that is going to best serve you and your family. So, in terms of protecting yourself, like, there's a reason why there's absentee voting.
Yes.
You know, it's a reason why it's an option. And so if it's an option and you choose to take advantage of it based off of wondering or your concerns about your safety, why not use it? And clearly, we're not the only ones that are thinking that way. How many?
573,750. And here's the great news. Out of those 573,750 requests to vote absentee, 267,524 were returned. That means that their vote is now official. That's 47.43%. Now, at the municipal level, okay, so that's the state of Wisconsin. At the municipal level, Milwaukee made up a little bit more ground and now trails the statewide rate by just over 7%.
Wow.
So Madison now is ahead of the statewide return rate at 48.21%, with about 1,500 more raw ballots than Milwaukee. There's been other few larger cities in the state that have passed also the 50% return rate. Green Bay, Kenosha, Janesville, Oshkosh, Eau Claire. These are all cities in the state of Wisconsin that have close to a 50% return rate for absentee ballots. Now, what does that mean? That means that if mail ballots are 16% of the total vote and 90% of requested ballots are returned, the state of Wisconsin is already looking at a potential turnout of 3.227 million voters, which will continue to grow in the next 2 weeks as there's more requests coming in. So Wisconsin is showing up.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like I said, you do not need a reason to be an absentee voter. If you are a registered Wisconsin voter, you have the ability to request an absentee ballot. So I think it's important for our community, because what we don't want is black folks not voting because they are scared.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is real what's happening at these polls. We continue to be a targeted demographic. And so we here at The Truth, we want to remind each of us as black voters, registered black voters, you don't necessarily have to go to the polls if you don't want to. Yes, please vote. And it is our responsibility, Telly and I, to remind you and inform you on the different ways that you can vote. Early voting day is the 22nd.
Yes. And you can go to myvote.wi.gov right now, and you can see all the options that you have. You can see your nearest polling station, and you can see the candidates that you will see on your ballot. So, again, myvote.wi.gov.
There it is.
Yes.
Speaking of the election, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris sat down for the first time with Brett. Is it Bayer, Telly? Is it Brett Bayer? Brett Bayer?
That is a really good question. I don't watch anything on Fox. I'll be real with you, so I'm not sure.
That's fair. Well, it's funny because I saw him during the Republican National Convention when we covered it. Man, let me tell y'all, I saw this man. You would have thought he was Michael Jackson reincarnated.
Why you say that?
Brett! He was riding on one of those golf carts. So, like, once... You remember how we had to go through security clearance like 8 times just to get to FICE reform? So once you got past the last security checkpoint, I was walking towards the FICE reform, and he was on a golf cart being escorted. And you would have thought Justin Bieber, Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, and Jay-Z were on that same golf cart. They were like, Brett! Oh my God, Brett! I mean, grown men. It was everybody just. So he obviously is Fox News top anchor.
Okay.
He has to be. So he sat down, or I should say, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris sat down with Fox News top anchor Brett Bayer. And let me tell you right now, this anchor on Fox News, he lets the world know he is pro-Trump. Okay, he is pro-Trump.
I thought all of them did.
Well, they do, but I'm saying it to the point where I don't know, between him and Hannity.
Okay.
You talk about kiss the ring, man. Trump comes up there, Your Majesty. I mean, it's like that. It's like pro. Like, I don't even know. I don't know if God is even in the equation, but it's definitely Trump is like worshipped by this man. So let's take a listen. Because during this sit-down interview with Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, since she's not getting, a chance to debate former President Donald Trump a second time, she decided she would sit down on Fox News. And it didn't take long for it to get a bit heated because there was a lot of interruptions. And there was a lot of moments where Madam Vice President had to ask, will you please let me finish? Will you please let me finish? And so again, this was Madam Vice President's first trip to Fox News as she's been running for president. Let's take a listen.
Regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act.
Do you regret the decision to terminate Remain?
The first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please? But you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Wow.
What do you think, Telly?
Wow. That was interesting. That was interesting because just as a journalist, from a respect level, you don't ever really interrupt a vice president or an official in that way unless they just going on a tangent and you have to really get to break. But it's just when the same behavior wouldn't have never took place if that was Trump sitting down there. He would never probably interrupt him that way. And so basically he was like asking the question, but he was like wanted to answer it too. And it's like, well, let her talk. And so, that was disrespectful. Like that was something that you don't do as a journalist to any candidate, let alone the vice president of the United States.
It's interesting that you say that, Telly, because I'm going to ruffle some feathers this morning. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. That's what keeps the folks tuned in. What happened during the NABJ interview with the three sisters and former President Trump? What happened during the first 30 seconds of that interview?
It was very contentious. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, but people, I'm
just talking about
part.
because we don't know what's going behind the scenes with this interview. So I'm just asking, what's the difference?
Yeah, no, it was the same. It was the same.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I was like everything you just described. I was like, I literally that's when we talked about the NABJ interview. Everybody was like, I was like, he gave the same energy that he was given. Because just like you said, Telly, as a journalist, the professionalism of whether you like the person or not that you're interviewing, and you've said this many times, regardless of whether or not I like this person, I have to do my job.
Yeah.
And I have to do my job as a professional journalist by not interrupting, by not, being combative. And I've seen it on both ends, on both parties, in terms of the organizations that obviously are supporting one candidate versus the other. Mm-hmm. And it's been disappointing.
Yeah, I can say I was just thinking about that same situation if former President Obama was in it. There are times where he showed a lot of patience, and there are a lot of times where people would cut him off or be a little disrespectful, and he would have to take the high road. But I know with Madam Vice President Harris, it's probably a bad position to be in, though. But we can talk about it after the break. You look like you landed a plane.
Well, because I got people in my ear. All right, y'all. We'll be back. Stay locked in.
Don't touch that dial. Truth Be Told with DT and Telly will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Republican Senate candidate Eric Hovde showed up to the Milwaukee Juneteenth Festival. He said he was having a good time.
I'm here having fun. This is one heck of a party.
But then Eric Hovde was asked if there was anything he was going to take away about black culture. Hovde's answer?
Look, I've spent a lot of time in black culture. I've spent a lot of time in places like Africa because I have homeless shelters.
Run that back for me? Eric Hovde is asked about black culture, and the first thing that comes to mind is taking trips to Africa and homeless shelters? Hovde's comments were called, quote, ignorant, and they reek of stereotype and white paternalism. But when Eric Hovde was asked about the criticism, he said, do I have to respond to the stupidity of that question? Eric Hovde.
I've spent a lot of time in places like Africa.
What's wrong with this guy?
I'm Tammy Baldwin, running for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Tammy Baldwin for Senate.
Sometimes it takes a breakdown to have a breakthrough. And at Vin Baker Recovery, they understand the power of having real support while you're on that journey to recovery. This is why at Vin Baker Recovery, they customize treatment plans specific for your needs. Vin Baker Recovery provides our community and anyone looking for help with access to mental health care and recovery support, helping you treat addiction. So whether opioid abuse, alcohol, or other controlled substances, Vin Baker Recovery helps you get back to the lifestyle that you know will be the best option for your future. Vin Baker Recovery offers licensed counseling and therapy services to curb the mental health problems that have been impacting our communities for far too long. They provide services like medication-assisted treatment, outpatient care, and hub and spoke services with peer support. So what are you waiting for? Vin Baker Recovery accepts walk-ins and appointments. It's just that easy. Just visit VinBakerRecovery.com. That's VinBakerRecovery.com. They're here to help you win the day.
If you are an African American or Hispanic adult with type 2 diabetes, the University of Wisconsin needs your help to participate in Enrich, a diabetes research study which may involve working with a pharmacist and or a community health worker. Most discussions will be held over the phone. All participants will receive compensation. For more information, call Delicia now at 414-550-1016. That's 414-550-1016. And ask Delicia about Enrich.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Join Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation for Marketplace Wisconsin, the Governor's Conference on Diverse Business Development, December 11th and 12th. Register at marketplacewisconsin.com.
Truck crash? Call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
You are listening to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, you already know the Truth is the proud home of Marquette University High School Championship football, and that's why we want to let you know that the Marquette High Hilltoppers clinched the Greater Metro Conference title last week, but look to finish the regular season strong Friday night as they take on the Maguanago Indians. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Friday night football on the Truth is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
And Truth Nation, you want to join us live for our first ever Truth Summit on Saturday, October 26th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the 3rd Street Market Hall. This exclusive in-person roundtable will examine the state of finances, education, and politics for Black Milwaukee. Dr. Ken Harris will be joined by expert guests, including Sherwin Hughes, Jason Fields, Dr. Lita Mallett, and Dr. Glenn Matthews for insights and a lively debate that you cannot afford to miss. Reserve your spot for the Truth Summit by visiting 1017thetruth.com. That is 1017thetruth.com. The Truth Summit is sponsored by One Milwaukee and free food catered by Ooh, free food. Let me read that one more again. They threw that one in. It's sponsored. The Truth Summit is sponsored by One Milwaukee and free food, free 99 food catered by Sean Nee's Exquisite Catering. I'm all for that. Y'all should have led with that. Free food. Then you say the Truth Summit. Good morning, Truth Nation. It is Friday Eve. It is Thursday, October 17th. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've been talking about voting. We've been talking about the interview with Madam Vice President on Fox News yesterday. The Truth Talking text line is blowing up. Let's get to it right now. It's 833-212-1017. Good morning, Black Conscious. Thank you so much for your patience. You are live with DT and Telly. What is your question or comment?
Grand Rising Queen. What's up, DT? What's up, Telly? So there was a slight difference in those interviews. In the comparison of the two. One was a fact-checking because of lies that were spewed and the disrespect that was going on. With Madam Vice President, that was trying to narrate and stop her truth from being told and to narrate to something that they wanted to project as lies, but it wasn't. They didn't give her the respect to finish because they knew, unlike what they do with Hump, they pretty much guide him in his questioning that what she was speaking on was truth and the policy that she was speaking of, and they couldn't stand that. And the disrespect was really high with her. That's what I saw the difference in the two.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, and that's what I
was Milwaukee.
And that's what I was saying. Thank you, Black Conscious. That's what I was saying before the break, DT, because when you are in that position, if she backs down, then it looks like, oh, she's weak and she can't stand up to, if she can't stand up to this journalist, how is she supposed to stand up against, other world leaders and things like that? But then if she does say something and then it seems like, again, she is being, aggressive or forceful. So it like I said before the break, that's a tough position for her to be in, because if you're feeling disrespected, your natural reaction is to make sure that you're not being disrespected. But then on the flip side, because of the position you are in and the job that you are running for, there's certain things that people are always going to dissect, good or bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. Here's the point that I also want to bring. This is in my reality, because I don't want to make this statement as if all people feel this way. But from my lens, at this point, being 19 days away from the general election, which includes voting for the next president, you at this point, you know who you're going to vote for. Okay? Like, this rallying, all that stuff. Come on.
You're right.
Pat, good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience. You're live with DT and Telly. What is your question or comment, Pat?
Let's be real.
Good morning. Greetings, DT. Telly, I watched the interview yesterday, and yes, there were moments where it got pretty heated, and I thought that Madam Vice President was not allowed to say everything that she wanted to say. However, there were times that she did get to answer a question, and she was unable to. I thought that I would like for you to play a clip of her actually answering the question and see what we got from it. Absolutely nothing. And then as far as them being rude to her in the interview in Atlanta and the black women that did the interview with Trump, I say hello to the people that I buy McDonald's from before I even purchase McDonald's. So how dare you have the ex-president on stage and not even greet him properly? That was disrespectful from the jump.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. Because here's the thing: whether you like somebody or not, you're professional or you're human. Thank you.
Yes. But I would like for y'all to play a clip of her answering questions, because she was that one clip that you played. You were right. She was disrespected to me because he would not allow. He just kept going and going. But there were questions that he patiently waited for, and we got, again, the same thing we all get. Let's be clear. I was a middle class. I was born middle class and blah, blah, blah. No answers for the border, no answers about the economy. So it was very, very eye-opening, I felt like. And again, I thought it was a great interview. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Pat. You have a great day as well, and thank you for sharing. On our YouTube message board, Rachel says, please listen to Madam Vice President's interview with Charlemagne the God. She covers issues in depth. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, we gotta.
Did you?
I did see that she did an interview with Charlemagne the God, but I did not hear anything. Maybe we can get some clips from that and see, what she said. But I was aware that she interviewed with him, yes, because Trump is supposed to be going on Joe Rogan's podcast, and
I saw that.
Yeah, and she's thinking about going on Joe Rogan's podcast as well. But I think when he said that was kind of the combat. She went on Charlemagne the God, show, and I don't know if it was his show or it was a special interview, but yeah.
I guess, for me, with the ads and this amplified focus on, being interviewed, it's exhausting. However, because I've never ran for political office, so I'm speaking from a lens as an observer, and I know that there's so much that goes into a campaign. And according to the most recent Marquette Law School poll that was released yesterday, this is a new national survey that was released yesterday morning, it is literally a dead heat race for president. Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, 48%. Former President Donald Trump, 47%. So I get it's overwhelming and it can be exhausting, but it doesn't take a rocket science to understand why Madam Vice President is amplifying her campaigning, even on platforms that she knows are trying to position her to look incompetent or less intelligent, including Fox News. And I think also, as a registered voter, I also have to give Madam Vice President some sympathy, because I'm a black woman. I know what it's like to work in predominantly white male environments or white environments, and she's running for president of the United States. And you know, it's one thing to be a black man running for president, but when you're a black woman running for president, I mean, I can't even imagine. Well, I can, but I also want to be very sympathetic to, not in terms of the role and responsibility, but she is a human being. And so as much as I'm tired of seeing these interviews on The Breakfast Club and on Fox News, I also have to understand I'll just say this, Telly. No Democrat wants to lose to Donald Trump.
No,
because when you look at her trajectory, her education, her roles, and to lose, that's how Hillary Clinton felt. And so at the end of the day, no Democrat
no
that has a traditional trajectory wants to lose to someone like Donald Trump, who has never had any type of political science, justice, formal training, education, all of that. So when we come back, we want to hear from you again. We're talking about the interviews that have taken place over the past few days with Madam Vice President. She's been on The Breakfast Club. She's been on Fox News. What are you thinking? Is she interviewing well enough to get these undecided voters? Because I'm thinking right now we should know.
You should.
We'll talk about it when we come back. 833-212-1017. You're listening to the best morning show on planet Earth, Truth Be Told, with DT and Telly on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Don't touch that dial. Truth Be Told with DT and Telly will be right back on 1017 The Truth, the Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
What distinguishes Old National Bank from other lenders in helping people buy their first home and furthering their small businesses?
One thing that really makes us stand out is our grants. We have two really big grants right now specifically for first-time home buyers buying in Milwaukee County. The first one is for $15,000. They have to be buying within Milwaukee County and reach certain income limits. And then the second one is for $20,000, and that is through the Federal Home Loan Bank of Indiana. We're headquartered in Indiana, as you know, Denise. So that is a second grant, and that is really the highest, most robust grant program throughout the entire southeastern Wisconsin area. So it's it's up to $35,000 essentially that a person could be receiving for their first home. If you are in a position that you're looking to buy your first home throughout Milwaukee County, please give me a call. Please contact me. I'm more than happy to help everybody that I can.
And what's your number, Anna?
Sure.
How can they reach you?
414-978-0283.
Okay, Fred, so I got some questions.
What's up?
Where should I go if I want to start my own business?
You go to EerieInsurance.com.
Okay, Fred, so where should I go if my kid needs an internship? Or if I need a job, where do I go?
You go to EerieInsurance.com.
Okay, so what if I want to work for a company that believes in diversity, has great benefits, and growth for people like us?
You already know. It's EerieInsurance.com.
Man, so Fred, I just need to go to Erie Insurance?
Go to EerieInsurance.com for all that you need.
It's amazing!
In our community,
You will find a center for food security. You'll discover a center for behavioral health support, a proven center for home care, a successful center for employment, a center for trauma recovery, and more. We are Centers for Independence. Find out how you can support Centers for Independence's work and mission at cfihope.org/independence.
Sybaris Pool Suites. Romantic, luxurious, affordable. A place where romance touches paradise and the memories of a lifetime are made. Sybaris offers a variety of room styles, including the exquisite Chalet Suite, which spans 3 levels and features your own private swimming pool with cascading waterfall, soothing whirlpool tub, a cozy fireplace, and much more to make your stay unforgettable. They are located in Mequon, just north of Milwaukee. Take a virtual tour at Sybaris.com.
You are listening to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Good morning, Truth Nation. You are listening to the best morning show on planet Earth, Truth Be Told with DT and Telly on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. We thank you so much for tuning in and getting your day started. It is 7:52 a.m., Friday Eve, October 17th. And as we have been mentioning throughout the show, we are just 19 days away from the general election, including the election for the 47th president of the United States. Will it be Madam Vice President Kamala Harris or former President Donald Trump? Either way, this is going to be, if not the most, one of the most historical and monumental elections in the history of this country. And Madam Vice President right now, according to the most recent Marquette University Law School poll, is leading by the hair on my chinny chin chin, Telly.
Yes. Yes. About
48%.
The slimmest of margins.
The slimmest of margins. The hair on my chinny chin chin.
Yeah.
As of now, go ahead, Telly.
No. Yeah, like I know you're about to say that it's a 1 point difference, and I still DT. It's hard to just think man, how could it be this tight? You're talking about a former prosecutor, the vice president of the United States is in a neck and neck race with a convicted felon. Think about that.
When you put it like that.
That's what it is. I ain't make it up. I ain't made up none of that.
Context. I get it. I feel you. On our Truth Talking text line, which is 833-212-1017, Marcus says, I wonder if Pat's still listening. Maybe Pat will call back in. Marcus says, if she can't handle a tough interview from Fox, what will she do against these leaders overseas? May I respond, Telly?
Yes, go ahead.
Why you laugh?
Because this is exactly what we were just talking about during the break.
Okay, well, Marcus, I hear you, brother. First, let's go back to what the definition of an interview is. Okay, an interview, Marcus. If you're measuring her leadership competencies based on what you witnessed on Fox News, let's first start with number one. An interview is a structured conversation where one participant asks questions and the other participant provides answers. In common practice, the word interview refers to a one-on-one conversation. Now, I want to emphasize where one person, Telly, will ask the question and the other person will respond. So, Marcus, my first question to you is, my brother, did you witness an interview? Because what I witnessed is that someone who was supposed to be interviewing was asking questions, but then did not allow the interviewee to respond without interrupting. That was not an interview. So please do not put merit in terms of measuring whether or not Madam Vice President is qualified or capable of conversating or having conversations with foreign leaders when she couldn't even on her homeland have the respect by who's supposed to be a professional who totally was unprofessional and did not interview her. Interviewing, again, Marcus, is where you ask me a question and you listen for my response. If you interview me, because I'm going to tell you right now, that's why I can't run for president, Telly, because I would have got up and left. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was an interview. You seem to be kind of insane because you're asking me questions and you're answering the questions that you're asking me.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Yeah, and she would have been well within her right. And I thought that if she had done that, I think that would have also set a precedent that, you're not going to have me on your show and think you're going to talk to me any kind of way or cut
that
me
wasn't
off
an interview,
or
Telly.
disrespect me.
Yeah.
And that's why I said have me on your show. I didn't say had you on the show for an interview, but it is to me again, DT. That was a very tough position for her to be in because regardless of her response, it was not going to be the right one for a lot of people, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. But I'll tell you what I also got for the people, DT, is specifically Truth Nation, because it is 10/17 Truth Day. Today we are celebrating by giving away a $25 gift card to the Pfister Cafe at the Pfister Hotel in downtown Milwaukee. You could just hit us up right now, 833-212-1017. Again, 833-212-1017. Be caller number 7, and you can win a $25 gift card to the Pfister Cafe, courtesy of The Truth. And thank you again, Truth Nation, as you celebrate Truth Day with us, 10/17.
When we come back at the top of the hour, we're going to get more into the interview that took place between Madam Vice President Kamala Harris on Fox News as well as The Breakfast Club. And we've got a lot of thoughts coming in, a lot of smoke on our Truth Talk and text line. We're going to get into that as well. Stay locked in. The second hour of Truth Be Told with DT and Telly is on its way. We'll be back.
Don't touch that dial. Truth Be Told with DT and Telly will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Truth Nation, join us live for the Truth Summit on Saturday, October 26th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the 3rd Street Market Hall. This exclusive in-person roundtable will examine the state of finances, education, and politics for Black Milwaukee. Dr. Ken Harris will be joined by expert guests for a lively debate and insights that you can't afford to miss. We've got it covered on the pulse of Black Milwaukee. Get your tickets to the Truth Summit by visiting 1017thetruth.com.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Truth Nation, Spirit Week is here, and we're celebrating the truth for 10/17 all week long. Starting Monday, it's Throwback Monday. Rock your old school fits and live in nostalgia. Tuesday, Twin Day. Find your twin and show off your outfit. I want to be like Steve. Wednesday, Jersey Day. Rep your team loud and proud. And Thursday is 10/17 Truth Day. Rock your truth fit and join us for a live radio show outside the studio. That's right, Truth Nation. Come see us in person and then celebrate with us for a special happy hour at 4 p.m.
Love the sound of that.
Plus, join Jammin' with Juice after dark from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
I'm flaming, bitch.
That Thursday night on 10/17 Day for an epic show. Join Spirit Week for 10/17 Day on 1017 The Truth, where every day is a Truth Day.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train knows this and is proud to be creating a wave of smiles across the cleft lip and palate community in over 70 countries. Patients, doctors, advocates, fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
You are listening to the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Good morning, Truth Nation. Happy Friday Eve. We're just one day away from the weekend. Telly, brother, I'm going to keep it real with you. Not that I never do, but I'll be glad when this election's over with. I'll be... Whew.
I told
Peace. Be still.
I am so sick of these political ads, and it's like you can't get away from them. And being people that travel as frequently as we do, it's in every state, and it is worse in some states. You'd be like, every other commercial, like it really makes you think, what are they going to run in November 6th? Because all of these commercials are political ads. Like, man, like what are you going to do?
And then, fast forward to this year, I think it's safe to say that for the past, I'd say 3 elections, starting with maybe President Obama when he was running, it's the text too, the text messages. And then what killed me is they be all like they know you. Hey, Denise, how you doing? What's up, girl? Man, you killing it on the radio. You gonna vote for me? I'm like, I don't even know you, bro. It's like you get these and like, you know me, if I receive a text message or a phone call that's unknown, like say for example there's no name tied to it, Telly, I'm going to automatically open it up or answer because it could be a potential client. I'm like, hello, you've reached Denise Thomas, the effective communication coach. How may I help you? Hey, D, you gonna vote for me? Oh my God, hang up, click, delete, report junk. I haven't pressed delete, report junk. So,
hey, DG,
some of these I've had to block.
Hey, man, get them ribs off the grill. Hey, you gonna vote for me?
We've been talking about Truth Nation. Madam Vice President is right now neck to neck with former President Donald Trump based on a number of polls that have been released, including the most recent Marquette University Law School poll. And she's out here because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't even have to hear Madam Vice President say this, Telly, but ain't nobody who's had a career, who's had a formal education, trying to lose to Donald Trump.
No. What I just said to you before, like
that's the worst.
That's like that's like you going for a radio job, DT, and there's someone that doesn't even know what a radio is, and come in.
Trigger. See, Telly, you trying to trigger me?
I think I could do that. I think I could do that. You'd be like, wait a minute, man. I'm like, what?
Well. Someone on the Truth Talking text line agrees. Craig says, I'm tripping off the fact that so many are voting to put a rapist, felon, failing businessman, known liar, treasonist, misogynist, bigot, and mentally declining elderly man into the White House. It's very disappointing in half of humanity. Don't hold back, Craig. Let us know how you feel.
Look, no rebuttal or pushback on that.
Now, Big C on our Truth Talking text line, which is 833-212-1017, says, if you have to start making excuses as to what an interview is What does that say? She didn't answer the questions the guy threw at her. I'm not a Trump supporter, but at this point, I don't like neither candidate. Both are liars. Marcus says, you just said Trump wasn't treated respectfully. What's the difference? Okay, so Big C and Marcus, thank you for listening. Thank you for your questions. I didn't say anything. See, this is the thing. Okay. Marcus says that if she can't handle a tough interview, that was not a tough interview. An interview is where someone asks a question and you listen and allow that person to respond that you're interviewing. That's not what I saw. Whether it was Trump or Harris being interviewed, that was not an interview. So in terms of what the difference was I didn't witness an interview. Now, as far as how she will communicate or represent this country against leaders overseas, that remains to be seen. But we were talking about the delivery format of what was to be an interview. Now, I'm not making excuses as to what an interview is. I'm giving you the Oxford Dictionary definition of an interview. I am speaking as a professional who makes a living off of interviewing, moderating, facilitating discussions with people, and people including that I may not personally like. So bottom line is this. It wasn't about the questions that he asked her. It wasn't about whether or not she can lead this country as a representative with foreign leaders. The fact of the matter is that that was not an interview. And we have to do better in terms of, if you don't like Madam Vice President Kamala Harris and you don't want to vote for her, that's your right. That's your business. But what we're not going to do is start normalizing. We're normalizing behaviors that are not normal. We are giving people passes that we wouldn't give our own mama passes for, that are running to lead this country. And it's time for us, especially as older generations, to remind our future leaders, that is not an interview. That was not a healthy debate. That is not how you lead. That is not leadership. But no, y'all want to make it this or that. Yeah. Again, an interview is two people, one person asking questions, another person responding. Whether it was NABJ or Brett Baier from Fox, interviewers have no professional rights to be interrupting when someone's trying to answer the question. That is what I'm saying. Quit normalizing mediocrity. Yeah. Because if we continue doing that, this country, you ain't got to worry about who's in the White House. Quit normalizing mediocrity. That was not an interview.
Yeah, there used to be times, DT, where these companies, these broadcasting companies, would be very leery about how you talk to specific politicians, because you don't want to run the risk of them not wanting to talk to you ever again. Because let's think about it. If Madam Vice President felt so disrespected that she says, if I'm elected, I will not talk to Fox my entire time I'm in office, Fox would be in trouble, because you have the President of the United States not wanting to specifically talk to your broadcasting company. And it could be Fox, it could be ABC, it could be NBC, it could be CBS, and they can't afford to have that. But now what you're saying is absolutely right, because if you start to normalize this, then these companies and networks can say, man, look, you can say whatever to her, man, or you can, nothing is out of bounds, and that's a bad policy in anything that you're doing if there's no out of bounds. There has to be some out of bounds.
Absolutely. There's no journalism school. There's no school of journalism in this country that is teaching, educating, or conditioning journalism students to conduct interviews like this. And to Nicole's point, on our YouTube message board, you can stream and watch Telly and I live right now on YouTube. Just simply go to youtube.com, search for 101.7 The Truth, hit that subscribe button. Nicole says, this goes for both sides. I see both parties over-talking the candidates during interviews. Sadly, it seems to be the new norm. That's exactly what I'm saying. I completely agree with you, Nicole. Because that's why I asked you, Telly, earlier. I was like, what about NABJ? I mean, because I was like, regardless of how you want to vote, who you want to vote for, as a professional interviewer or a professional moderator, there's a standard, there's a protocol, there's Robert's rules. Mm-hmm. And so when we talk about one person who had a terrible interview, and then people are like, well, what about, it's for anyone. Quit normalizing mediocrity. We are in a country now. We're living in a country. While y'all folks is worrying about, who's the better interviewer, do you know that there is a deficit right now in this country, Telly, a shortage of medical students, law students, engineering students. Do you know why there's a deficit, Telly? I'm so glad you asked. Because society has normalized this type of behavior. Society has normalized just make a TikTok video for 30 seconds talking about somebody else. Talking about somebody else's character, talking about somebody's ability to raise a family, talking about somebody. That is what is the norm now. That is where young leaders are seeing, and we accept it. Potential. We have a deficit in this country. So when we're old and we need quality health care, these young folks, they're not trying to do that because we have allowed them. We have conditioned them to believe that this is leadership.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sure journalism students are probably on a decline as well because you don't need to, anybody that can go live, which everybody has the capability of doing that if you are any social media platform, feels like they're journalists now. Like, look, I can go live just like you can go live. And so you take away the credibility and the rules of engagement and how a professional interview is supposed to go when you give people titles that done nothing to earn them in terms of characteristics.
Exactly. Now, Telly, to your point, I know we have audio now from the interview that Madam Vice President Kamala Harris participated in with Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club. There's been a lot of attention. There's been a lot of commentary, dissection, all that stuff regarding this interview. So let's take a listen. This is a soundbite from the interview between Madam Vice President Kamala Harris and Charlamagne the God from the Breakfast Club.
Now, one thing they've been saying, a lot of your press hits get criticized. Folks say you come off as very scripted. They say you like to stick to your talking points. And some media says you have...
That would be called disciplined.
Ooh, okay. Speak to that.
But go on.
No, I was going to say, some people say you have an inability to fearlessly say who you are and what you believe. I know that's not true. But what do you say to that criticism? And is it fair for SNL to make fun of it?
When I first joined...
Thoughts? What'd you think, Telly?
Wow. It definitely was a different interview. It seemed like he clearly was giving her the opportunity to say whatever she wanted to say, and I think that was a good question. I think that was a good question. I was waiting to hear the answer, and I guess we did have that full clip. But yeah, I think that was a really good question. Okay. Oh,
I think
Ricky,
it was
you
too.
do have an answer? Okay. Yeah, so we're going to get the answer because I'm definitely interested to see what she said about that. Go ahead, Ricky.
Hasn't Maya Rudolph been wonderful?
Yes.
I think I have nothing but admiration for the comedy, and I think it's important to be able to laugh at yourself and each other.
But what do you say to people who say
in the spirit of obviously comedy and not belittling people as my opponent would do.
But what do you say to people who say you stay on the talking points?
I would say you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, here's the thing. I love having conversations, which is why I'm so happy to be with you this afternoon. And the reality is that there are certain things that must be repeated to ensure that I have everyone know what I stand for and the issues that I think are at stake in this election. Mm-hmm. And so it requires repetition. Some people say that until someone has heard the same thing at least 3 times, it just doesn't stay with you. So repetition is important. And for that reason, yes, at my rallies, I say the same thing when I go to Detroit as I do in Philly, as I do wherever I am, to make sure that people hear and receive what I think are some of the most critical issues that are at stake in this election.
There has to be a high level of anxiety, too, when you have these conversations, though, because you are running for president.
I mean, you know what? There's certainly a lot of, I feel the weight of the moment and my role. I feel an extraordinary weight of responsibility right now to do everything I can. I'm telling you, Charlamagne, when I go to bed at night, I almost every night, in addition to my prayers, will ask, have I done everything I could do today? This is a margin of error race. It's tight. I'm going to win. I'm going to win.
Wow. Man, DT.
Talk yo, Madam Vice President, talk yo.
I like the confidence. I really do. But DT, I still feel like there are some people that don't really feel like they know who she is.
Okay, let me ask a question. And this is coming from ignorance. What, and I'm asking this to you, Telly. Oh, we got Pat. Pat, you've been patient. But don't let me forget this question I want to ask Telly. I want to ask this question as soon as we hear from Pat. Good morning, Pat. Thank you again for your patience. You're live with DT and Telly. What is your question or comment?
Wonderful topic this morning, y'all. It's great.
Thank you.
I just listened to the clip y'all showed with the Charlamagne the God town hall meeting with the black men. I watched that too. I'm into this. I'm invested because I have not yet made up my mind about who or should I vote. So, because I feel the same way about Donald Trump that I feel about Kamala. I believe none of them are saying, they're not saying nothing. That right there, again, was her way of avoiding questions. I didn't hear anything about the economy. I mean, we have real serious issues in this country, and I don't understand how we are going to let anybody just sit up and talk about themselves, how confident about their prayers, and did they do everything they want to do today. You know what? It's ridiculous, and I hope that black people wake up, regardless of who you vote for. That woman is not saying nothing, y'all. Please help me understand why Kamala is the choice or should be the choice for black people. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Okay,
and thank
so
y'all
Pat,
for taking my call again.
No. Hold on, Pat. Hold on, because we got to take a break. But you're asking some very, very important questions, okay? So what I'm going to ask, if you can, Pat, if you can, it's great. If not, please hold, because my question to you and Telly is really underscoring what you're asking. So if you can hold, when we come back from break, let's have this conversation, because what you're asking is very important. Is that cool? Okay, I think we're going to have Pat hold. Okay, thank you. So Pat's on hold. We're going to take a break. We come back. Because what I'm hearing, Telly, is a lot of us as black registered voters. Because, for me, I was like, if you don't know who you're voting for by now. But that's not a fair statement. That's not a fair statement. So I want to clarify that and say, I know who I'm going to vote for. However, I have to also, as a talk radio co-host, respect the listeners that are still undecided. And that's what we're here to do. So let's have this conversation. We come back. Stay locked in. 833-212-1017 is our Truth Talking text line. You're listening to the best morning show on planet Earth, Truth Be Told with DT and Telly. We'll be back.
Don't touch that dial. Truth Be Told with DT and Telly will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truthful Nation, it's your boy Benjamin.
And your girl Noni Juice.
And we'll be coming at you live from Steinhaufel's in Greenfield this Friday. Jamming on the couch at Steinhaufel's live from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m.
So come on down and jam on the couch with us. And get something juicy from Steinhaufel's to upgrade all your home furniture needs. We've got juicy topics, and Steinhaufel's has some great deals waiting for you.
Steinhaufel's Greenfield.
Don't miss it.
Republican Senate candidate Eric Hovde showed up to the Milwaukee Juneteenth Festival. He said he was having a good time.
I'm here having fun. This is one heck of a party.
But then Eric Hovde was asked if there was anything he was going to take away about black culture. Hovde's answer?
Look, I've spent a lot of time in black culture. I've spent a lot of time in places like Africa because I have homeless shelters.
Run that back for me? Eric Hovde is asked about black culture, and the first thing that comes to mind is taking trips to Africa and homeless shelters? Hovde's comments were called, quote, ignorant, and they reek of stereotype and white paternalism. But when Eric Hovde was asked about the criticism, he said, do I have to respond to the stupidity of that question? Eric Hovde.
I've spent a lot of time in places like Africa.
What's wrong with this guy?
I'm Tammy Baldwin, running for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Tammy Baldwin for Senate.
1017 The Truth is the proud home of Marquette Hilltoppers football. Tune in Friday night as the Hilltoppers look to close out the regular season strong with a victory over the Mukwonago Indians. The football action kicks off at 7 p.m. on 1017 The Truth. Marquette University High School football is presented by Gruber Law Offices and sponsored by Capital Insurance Agency, Magic Productions, Annex Wealth Management, C.G. Schmidt, Leff's Lucky Town, Boyle Frederickson Intellectual Property Law, and Marquette University High School.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. One call, that's all.
Prostate cancer screening is a simple blood test. It's a simple blood test. Get it done. If you want info on how to take action, the Prostate Cancer Foundation is here to help. Go to pcf.org today. Remember, it's your life, and it's a simple blood test. Get it done.
You are listening to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All right, Truth Nation, let's just get into this because our Truth Talking text line is on fire. If you are just tuning in, if you're just joining Telly and I, good morning. Happy Friday Eve. We've been talking about shocker, the election. Madam Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are neck and neck right now. Madam Vice President has like a very chin hair lead of 48%, followed by President Trump, former President Trump, at 47%. This is according to the most recent poll from Marquette University Law School, now, which is a highly regarded and referenced survey. Let's go straight to our Truth Talking text line. Pat, please hold because you and I both want to have the questions that you presented answered. Let's take Al first. Al, thank you for holding. You're live with DT and Telly. What is your question or comment?
My comment is deep down inside in some of these black people's hearts, they probably feel white is right. That's how they were programmed. Remember, you always get the white and the Jew, the suit, but at night you get the black to fight because a lot of them are programmed this way. And if you look back at what's been going on, black people been being disrespected for hundreds of years by whites. But they only pump their chests out when they come to their own. But deep down inside, they probably want to vote for the white man. Because what do they always say when they get ready to go against their own? I'm going to put the white man on you. So they're looking at that orange skin color. So they're not telling you that. They ain't undecided. They know what they want. They just need to stand on business and tell you that. Because, hey, I'm down with her. I'm down with the sister all the way. So I just wanted to share that information. Put it all on the table. Let's start this MF bull sugar honey iced tea. Y'all know what y'all need to do. Have a good day.
Thank you, Al. All right, we'll go to our next caller. The caller, you're live with DT and Telly. What is your question or comment?
Good morning, Denise, Telly. You guys, the comment that you made initially when I turned you on about 15 minutes ago is spot on because I don't think prior to podcasters and amateurs being allowed to call themselves new media, which is a lie, and claim that traditional media like radio or MSNBC, where you can be fact-checked and where you can actually be sued if you slander somebody. I don't think a lot of these things that Donald Trump is able to promote and say would even be a part of this whole conversation. And that is part of why I believe some people feel that they can hold Vice President Harris to a separate standard when there are results like $17 billion for black education, and then to say that that is nothing is a lie. And I hear that word all the time. Biden and Harris has done nothing. I'm quite sure you two guys can, if you wanted to, go down a list of things that they promised and that they accomplished, and all the things that they presented that were blocked by people who followed Donald Trump, the Republican legislators. So with that said, I really am kind of exhausted with hearing people say that word nothing when she just put out a proposal that addresses every issue that black men who lead our families will improve their lives, unless it's blocked by a MAGA-run legislative branch. Excuse me, I'm just waking up, guys. So to say nothing is a lie. To say she's done nothing as the vice president or that her job is a border czar are all lies when there are three specific duties that a vice president has. One is to be ready to be president. Two is to advise the president. And I'm sure her graduating from Howard University kind of helped her to advise President Biden to put forth so much money to hopefully provide future broadcasters like you and Telly, future doctors and lawyers. And to say that educating our youth is nothing is ridiculous, outside of the fact that Project 2025 says that you won't even be able to protest like John Lewis did to get us the rights that we do have. So that anybody who says that word tells me that they're not engaged, they're not fully invested in this, they're not doing the research that you would need to do. And watching this man dance during a town hall, that's nothing. You know, that shows you nothing. Watching him tell people they don't have to vote because he's going to attempt to steal this election in states like Georgia, that is nothing. Watching him
Thank
say
you, the
that
caller.
Our soldiers,
Thank you. We appreciate you calling. We got to take our next caller. Thank you so much. But to the caller's point, and trust me, y'all, I don't like to interject, but this is a 2-hour show, and the producers be in my ear, and they like, go to the next. So please don't be like, Denise, we cut folks off. Rachel on our YouTube message board says, to pass legislation to make these plans happen, she will need the support of the House and the Senate as well. Otherwise, nothing will change. And this goes what to the caller was sharing. Because Telly, you and I, we've had our offline conversations. I'm always like, okay, once Madam Vice President is elected, then what? Mm-hmm. Then what? Is she going to have the support that she needs? Because and we've talked about this, Telly, the black men agenda, the agenda for this country, those are proposals.
Yes.
Those are things that she has to get support. And right now, the Senate is majority Democrat. But guess what you got to go through before you get to the Senate?
The House.
The House.
Yes. Yes. And if you recall, back in 2008, when we were all excited that President Barack Obama was going to be the first black president, and now we were going to be led to the promised land, and all the things that he wanted to do, he never got a chance to do because he couldn't get the support to get it done.
He had 2 years. Yeah. And he did the best he could those first 2 years between 2008 and 2010.
Right.
And remember the financial crisis that had happened between 2007 and 2008. So let's do this, Telly. Pat, I know you're holding. Let's play a clip because, you know, Telly, we as the best journalists that we try to be fair and equal. So let's play a clip from an interview. Former President Donald Trump sat down just this past Tuesday, so 2 days ago, with the editor-in-chief of Bloomberg News for an interview. Now, during this interview, he talked about tariffs. He talked about what he's going to do if he's elected in November. He talked about, how he feels about dismissing tariffs. Let's just take a listen. This is former President Donald Trump with the Bloomberg editor-in-chief on Tuesday.
$3 trillion.
That's $3 trillion worth of imports.
And they don't have to pay. And if the higher the tariff, the more likely it is to have them come into
the higher the tariff, the more you're going to put on the value of that piece, those goods, the higher people are going to pay in shops.
Ready? The higher the tariff, the more likely it is that the company will come into the United States and build a factory in the United States so it doesn't have to pay the tariff.
That will take many, as you know, that will take many years.
In fact, I'll tell you, there's another theory is that the tariff, you make it so high, so horrible, so obnoxious that they'll come right away. When I do the 10%, 10% is really, first of all, 10% when you collect it is hundreds of billions of dollars. The numbers that you're talking about, all reducing our deficit. But really, so there's two ways of looking at a tariff. You can do it as a money-making instrument, or you can do it as something to get the companies. Now, if you want the companies to come in, the tariff has to be a lot higher than 10%, because 10% is not enough. Guys, they're not going to do it for 10.
That was former President Donald Trump sitting down with the Bloomberg editor-in-chief this past Tuesday. Now, when we come back from break, Telly and I, we want to hear from you. And we've got Pat on hold because Pat, one of our valued listeners, presented a question. And it's come up several times. And doggone it, I'm ready to have this conversation because there's a lot of people, there's a significant number of registered voters who keep saying, I don't know her. I still don't feel like I know her. The question is, what do we need to hear from Madam Vice President to get to the point of where, yep, I know her well enough to where I can vote for her? What will that take? And the reason why we're going to ask that question and hear from you, Truth Nation. And again, I'm just asking the question because when President Barack Obama ran for president, he was a what, 2-year senator, U.S. Senator of Illinois?
Yeah.
And I said, Telly and Truth Nation, because my parents, they were like, ain't even no question. We voting for this brother. He's black. And I was like, but I don't know him. I kept saying that. I don't know him. And so that obviously was not a factor. Now, of course, the truth didn't exist in 2008. But I'm just curious, like Pat, what will it take for us to get to a point where we can say, I know Kamala Harris? Because a lot of us didn't know Barack Obama, and her career has been way more extensive and longer than President Barack Obama when he ran. Just curious. We'll be back.
Sometimes it takes a breakdown to have a breakthrough. And at Vin Baker Recovery, they understand the power of having real support while you're on that journey to recovery. This is why at Vin Baker Recovery, they customize treatment plans specific for your needs. Vin Baker Recovery provides our community and anyone looking for help with access to mental health care and recovery support, helping you treat addiction. So whether opioid abuse, alcohol, or other controlled substances, Vin Baker Recovery helps you get back to the lifestyle that you know will be the best option for your future. Vin Baker Recovery offers licensed counseling and therapy services to curb the mental health problems that have been impacting our communities for far too long. They provide services like medication-assisted treatment, outpatient care, and hub and spoke services with peer support. So what are you waiting for? Vin Baker Recovery accepts walk-ins and appointments. It's just that easy. Just visit VinBakerRecovery.com. That's VinBakerRecovery.com. They're here to help you win the day.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place? You know, that spot that only you know about? And instead of what you came for, you found something a little different. What if instead of your private stash, you found a simple phone number, 1-800-662-HELP? What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? Would you make the call? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, before drugs turn your life upside down, before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or prescription drug misuse, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/thereishelp.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that American Family Insurance agents can help build a customized renter's policy so you can protect stuff like this, or this, or even this. Well, case in point. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
Eastbound 94, we've got some backups from 84th Street through the stadium. The westbound side backed up from 27th Street all the way through to Mitchell Boulevard. An accident on northbound 894 at National Avenue as the right shoulder blocked. One on the on-ramp from Good Hope Road to 41 northbound. And then we have a broken down vehicle on 894 eastbound just as you're coming out of the Hale interchange. It is blocking the left lane, so that's going to be a little bit tight through there. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Today, sunny, a bit warmer, a high of 64. Tonight, clear, not as cold, a low of 44. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 101.7 The Truth.
You are listening to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All right, Truth Nation. Woo! Man, y'all are giving me all the life I need today. Al, I see you. I'm going to get to you right now. But before, I got to let Truth Nation know that at Old National Bank, they know there is nothing small about keeping up a small business. And that's why they have developed their Empowerment Loan Program to help give people of color and women-owned businesses equal access to funds up to $5 million. This substantial commitment shows that Old National Bank truly believes that every small business deserves the opportunity to change their community in a big way. Learn more today by visiting oldnational.com/empowerment loan. Old National Bank, get old. All loans are subject to credit approval. Minimum loan amount, $25,000. Additional program qualifications or restrictions may apply. For full details, contact an Old National Small Business Banker. Good morning, Al. We've been talking about Madam Vice President elections, former President Donald Trump, interviews, former President Donald Trump interviews. What is your question or comment? You are live.
Hey, good morning. Well, you know, Kamala has a tendency to stick to the script, but after you heard the script so many times where you can almost answer the question because you know what she's going to say, does that give the undecided voter any information as how she's going to do something, how she's going to pay for the plan, how she's going to get it through Congress, how it's going to balance the budget, how it's not going to cost me more money, how it's going to lower the prices at the store. I think we as voters go in with a checklist of things that are important to us, and it's up to that candidate to answer that concern that's important to us. And she has to ask herself, is she answering the question of the decided voter? You can stick to your script, but if it's not answering the question, it does not do you any good. And I knew that's where she's failing, and she can continue to talk in circles, and that's good for my candidate because they know 8 years, 10 years of Trump.
Thank you for your call. Al from Sherman Park. Telly, aren't you proud of me? You
yes.
I did that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just give me my Scooby snack. Pat, you've been so patient. You've been
Yes,
so patient. Pat, are you still there? Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you. All right, Pat. I love you, sis. Thank you for holding because I know you're busy. So for you to give me that grace and that time, shout out and kudos to you, sis. All right. So Pat, You've been listening. You said you are locked in. You've been listening and watching and analyzing these most recent interviews between Madam Vice President and whoever's platform that she's on, as well as former President Donald Trump. And the question that you presented, I want to ask this out loud, and Truth Nation, we want to hear your thoughts too. 833-212-1017. You said, Pat, well, actually, just repeat what you said, because I don't want to speak for you.
I don't remember. How I feel is I just don't know why we as Black people are pushed to vote for Madam President, because I get no answers from her ever. And I understand. I just heard what your other guest was saying about, I'm saying she's saying nothing, and really Donald Trump is saying nothing. But exactly. I honestly, but I just did hear Donald Trump talk about bringing work to the United States. I worry every day about food. I worry every day about shelter. These are the things that I worry about. I watched all the interviews with my daughter, who's going to school to be a journalist. Hooray, hooray. And she said something to me. Yes, she said something to me that was so powerful, and I'm going to let it go because I got to repeat it. She said, Mom, I was complaining afterwards. I said, we still fighting about the same thing from the civil rights movement. And she said, Mom, that's the problem. It was a movement. And in movements, they can stop, they can go slow, they can even go backwards. Black people need a mission, because if you have a mission, you have to get from A to Z, and you have to tell us how you're going to get there. And if you don't get from A to Z, you have failed your mission. So Black people need to stop talking about movements. We need a mission that will affect all the way to the top, the richest Black folks, all the way to the bottom. Because right now it just feels like the poor and the downtrodden are not considered at all. All we're talking about is where this woman went to school, how much money Donald Trump has. It's just not working for me. And I'm at the point where I will take whatever I can get. I'm not going to vote, but I'm going to take whatever I can get and just live with it.
Did you say you're not going to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Listen, I have to respect that. I mean, I definitely am, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say disappointed. I respect your position, Pat. I have to, because I'm not going to be that person that persecutes you or judges you, because you not only said that you're not going to vote, but you shared with us why you're not. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to be like, how did you let Pat is a grown, tax-paying, law-abiding citizen who is raising a daughter, a Black daughter, and I have to respect her position. Now, Pat, I will say this.
Yes.
Please consider, between now and the next 19 days, please consider this. Because just as you're calling into this radio show and we're hearing your voice because it matters, somebody is also hearing you, and they're hearing you talk about your daughter. They're hearing you talk about, we as Black people, we have to look in the mirror versus depending on the government. So your voice matters. It's valuable. So that same valuable voice that you have on this platform, The Truth, I want you just to consider using that same incredible, powerful voice on November the 5th. I'm asking you to consider, because your voice, it is powerful. And there are so many people that intentionally want more people like us to not use our valuable voice on November the 5th. I get what you're saying, Pat. Trust and believe. Because Telly will tell you, our off-air conversations, trust and believe. He'll tell you, I feel the exact same way you do, Pat. And I'm not going to say, Pat, go vote because your ancestors, or go vote because we all know that. We know that. We operate in it every day. But what I am asking you to consider, Pat, is that you have a very powerful voice. And the more that this country sees Black women like you and I continuing to say, no matter what you try to do to hold me down, I'm still here and I'm still going to be dope. And your insecurities and your lack, because here's the thing, Pat, the same reasons why a lot of people have a problem with me being confident are the same reasons why they have a problem with Madam Vice President running for president. And they're going to have the same issues with your daughter a black woman being a journalist. I will not let my light be dim because of someone else's insecurities. So just consider how powerful your voice is on November the 5th or October 22nd. That's all I'm asking you to consider. And thank you for holding.
Yeah, well, Pat's gone, but yeah, that like you said, DT, like Pat gave reasons why that she doesn't want to vote as of October 17th. But again, a lot can change in 19 days.
Yes.
And Joe B hit us up on our talking text line, and he raises a good question. He said there are only two candidates. If Madam Vice President isn't your pick, let's hear about why Donald Trump is. These folks call in and make no sense. Well, Joe, to combat that, like, I don't know if you sent that before Pat finished what she was saying, but I mean, we understand there's only two candidates, and there are some people that are going to exercise and their right to sit this one out if they choose to, because they're not cool with either candidate. And we don't know if that is the answer, because we do hear all the time that yes, you should vote, get your voice heard, get your voice matters, your opinion matters. But if you don't agree with either one, then that's also your right too to sit it out. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And Telly, I'll say this too, Pat, and I get emotional talking about this because I know exactly what is bringing Pat to this position. And when you and I don't want to speak for Pat, but as a black woman, I guarantee you this is part of it. There are a lot of people that are undecided simply because they are tired. They're tired of giving 100%. And in most cases, having to give more than that just to survive. And then to be told, you should vote this way or you should do this. What about me? Because after November the 5th, then what? And so I would really appreciate if between now and the November the 5th, because there's a lot of political roundtables, there's a lot of interviews that are taking place, and bottom line, people just don't feel valued as American citizens anymore. They don't feel as though that they belong here. They're trying to just be a good parent or be a good wife or be a good husband. And this country has proven to us day after day, year after year, election after election, that we don't matter. A lot of us feel like, why vote? We don't matter. It doesn't matter if I vote or not, because I'm never heard. After November the 5th, it'll be the same old episode that I've seen several times.
Yeah.
And that, and on the Truth Talking text line, Marcus says Pat definitely speaks for a lot of people. Absolutely she does. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. Like we're ignoring the fact that the reason why Madam Vice President is neck to neck with somebody who they said was a racist and a rapist and et cetera.
And a convicted felon.
And convicted felon is because, again, we don't matter. When we come back, our Truth Talking text line is 833-212-1017. We're going to continue to hear how you feel about where we are in this election, because right now it's neck to neck. We'll be back.
Don't touch that dial. Truth Be Told with DT and Telly will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Coming with straight truth.
I want to ask you just a simple question. Are you afraid of black people? Yes or no? And if so, why? Does it matter where we're from? If we're from Africa, are you more afraid of an African black, a Haitian black, a Caribbean black, a Jamaican black, a Kamala Harris black, like a hybrid black? Are you only half afraid of biracial people? Are you afraid of black people? I'm curious. And if so, why? Has a black person or have black people hurt you or harmed you in any way?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With limited incomes not keeping up with the lingering effects of inflation, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596. That's 800-506-5596. Or visit www.kwwf.org.
If you are an African American or Hispanic adult with type 2 diabetes, the University of Wisconsin needs your help to participate in Enrich, a diabetes research study which may involve working with a pharmacist and or a community health worker. Most discussions will be held over the phone. All participants will receive compensation. For more information, call Delicia now at 414-550-1016. That's 414-550-1016. And ask Delicia about Enrich.
From my family and myself, I would like to say thank you to Gruber Law Offices for taking such good care of us.
I would say thank you because you were so human and so much of a friend during the whole process.
I'm super grateful for them representing me and doing all that they did for me.
I would just say thank you for making me feel better.
That's why I'm here, to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
You are listening to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What an incredible show today. Telly, wow.
Yeah.
Like, the people have spoken.
Yeah. And it also goes to show, DT, that these conversations are so overdue and they're necessary, especially as we are doing this in real time, because it's real. 19 days away, we are going to elect the 47th president in this country.
Man. You know, I think we're going to continue this conversation. I know tomorrow is Politic-Free Friday, but my question is tomorrow, how did we get here as a country where it's neck and neck? And I know there's a number of our listeners that are Trump supporters, but I'm just asking, if former President Donald Trump was a black man, would you give him all this grace? And why are you not giving the same grace that you give to former President Trump to Madam Vice President Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
And this election has shown me who this country truly is. It has really reminded me what type of a country I live in. And y'all wonder why I keep my passport smoking. My passport stays swiped.
It definitely,
because I need a break.
Yes, it definitely shows what's important to people, because if the only reason why you want to vote for Donald Trump is you feel like the economy will get better, then your importance, the most important thing to you is your money.
Exactly. Do we have Ricky? Can we take this last caller? Don, can we take her or he? Okay, Don, thank you for waiting and your patience. You're live with DT and Telly. What is your question or comment?
My comment is kind of to Pat. So I'm a white female, and I'm in a racial relationship. And the reality of it is I look at it this way. I'm not ecstatic about Kamala, but if I look back at what happened to the country while Donald Trump was in office and how far it really set us back, there's so much more hate I've never felt. And, we've been together since, the 90s, and, we had issues in Tennessee where, we got arrested for him being black and me being white, and the DA coming up to us and telling us that they still hang black men for dating white women. And I feel like it's actually scarier now going into everything. If Donald Trump gets in, what is going to do to the whole entire nation? It's not even just the black community, but the whole entire nation. Trump made it cool to be racist. It brought out things in my mom. My mom's a Trump supporter, and I'm so against it, because the reality of it is a lot of let's just say Christian white people are voting based solely on where he says he stands for abortion. But the reality of it is he's probably had more abortions than any one person in this whole entire world. So it's just because he hasn't personally, he's paid for it. So I just don't get the standpoint of it. And I just really wanted to say that for the life of me, I hope that Donald Trump does not get in, because what it will do to this nation is just wow. And that's why I will vote for Kamala. That's why I'm definitely voting for Harris, because there's no way that Trump will ever get my vote.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Wow, you know what, DT? That's a way to end this show, because this is like people have called and expressed their opinions, and thank you so much, Dawn. And Pat made a great point. Dawn makes a great point, and that's why I'm glad that we can have discussions like this, DT. I really am.
Amen. I completely agree, and thank you again, Dawn, for calling. DVJ says it's getting real. DVJ. You ain't lying. Speaking of getting real, up next, you have 9 more hours of live consecutive Black Talk Radio Milwaukee. Sherwin Hughes is coming up next. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Continue to spread the word for folks to start their morning off here on The Truth with DT and Telly. Make it a great day. Tell somebody you love them. We love you. Lord willing, we will hear and see you tomorrow.
Peace out.